G'day guys, before we hop into today's vlog, I just want to remind you to hit that subscribe button. From now on, I'm going to be putting out Day-Leigh vlogs every single day. I'm going to be tracking my process, playing these 1-2-6 max games, hopefully moving up in stakes. But even if I don't, you'll get to watch me fall on my face every single day on this YouTube channel. So make sure you hit subscribe so you get the new videos as they come out every single day. For now, onto the vlog. G'day everyone, welcome back to the vlog. It is currently 9:30 AM here in Melbourne, and as you can tell, I've just woken up and I've had another sleep in. I'm starting to get very concerned that this sleeping thing is becoming a habit just because I haven't played early in the morning the past few days now. I'm just hitting the snooze button on my alarm in the morning and I don't even remember doing it. I was probably just doing it when I was half asleep, which is very concerning because it's definitely becoming a habit if that's the case. So I'm gonna try and break that habit. Either by, I do increase the amount of calories in my diet come 2 days time, so maybe that'll give me more energy to get up early in the mornings. But if that doesn't work, I've considered doing what I call a hard reset, which is just basically where I stay awake for 36 or so hours in a row, then get to bed super early one night, then start waking up early in the morning. Something I've done in the past. I'd really like to avoid it if possible, just because I am a bit of a wreck during those 36 hours. But it's definitely something I'm going to consider because I can't afford to lose all that productivity I get done in the mornings. With that out of the way, I've got a busy day ahead of me. I'm planning in to get 1,500 hands of A-grade level poker. Definitely going to have to six table with so much time already lost. And also at 3 PM, I'm recording a podcast with my friend Simon over at the Simon Discovery podcast. I'll let you guys know when that does get released to all of you guys. I'm recording it today though, so I don't have much more time to waste and I'm starving, so I'm gonna go cook some breakfast. Let's go. Okay, so just got my feed in. That breakfast was a bit of a mess, I won't lie. Messed it up a bit, but regardless, I did get the calories in me and I'm feeling a lot better. Now it's time to go play some poker. Looking to play that 1,500 hands of A-grade level poker. Gonna be six tabling as well, so I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to focus on everything well, but definitely looking to improve on where I started off yesterday, which was already a pretty high point to begin with, to be fair. In terms of what stakes I'm going to play, probably only going to play one table of the 2-5. Really don't think I'm ready to be splitting my attention between 6 games of 2-5. So without any further ado, let's get in the game. Yo, it's about 4:15 in the afternoon now here in Melbourne, and I've just wrapped up the podcast with Simon. We got into a lot of interesting things about my experience as a professional poker player over the past few years or so. So I'll leave his link down in the description for his channel. Make sure you go hit subscribe on his channel. The podcast with me talking to him, it does come out in a few days. Link for that down in the description. For me now, I've got in 950-ish hands so far for the day, so I still need to go in and get the extra 550. I six tabled earlier with 5 tables of 1-2 and 1 table of 2-5. I think for the next 550 hands, I'm just going to six table 1-2. I am feeling a bit lethargic, and we'll get into my results from later, but I didn't run that well in the first session, so I think my confidence is a bit lower. I'm not quite on my A game, so I'm probably just going to play 6 tables of 1-2. It's already late in the day, I don't have much time to waste, so let's get in the game again. Welcome back everyone. It is currently about 6:10 in the evening here in Melbourne, and I've finally wrapped up my second poker session for the day. Did 6 table all day, so in the matter of 4 hours and 4 minutes, I did get in a total of
1,509 hands, so just barely squeaking past the 1,500 hand goal, which I'm very relieved that I did actually get over that number. Considering how much time I slept in today, I'm just stoked that I was able to hit my numbers for today. Something I'm not quite as stoked about is the results from today's sessions. I did end up losing 595 at the end of the day. In terms of my gameplay grade though, I'm going to give myself a B from today's session. I do feel like the fact I did sleep in and it did stress me out being under the time crunch and whatnot, and I was a bit less focused. Still haven't quite got the grips of the 6 tables at one time, so unfortunately wasn't able to play my A game, was a bit distracted. I don't think I made any massive mistakes that I really am kicking myself over, but just a bit distracted and probably missed some opportunities to go for thin value, go for bluffs, stuff like that. So can't give myself an A grade when I did play like that today, so gonna go with a B. So as you can tell, I was pretty lukewarm in my performance throughout today's sessions, and this following hand is probably one of the examples where I made the biggest mistakes due to being distracted by so many tables and due to feeling a bit stressed under a time crunch. So let's get into it. The actions on a loose aggressive low jack, they go ahead and open it up to 6. And the actions on me in the hijack, and I have my favourite hand in all of poker, pocket aces, I go ahead and 3-bet it to 18. Then the actions on a loose passive player to my left in the cutoff, they go ahead and cold call my 3-bet. And the action gets back to the original raiser and they call as well. So we are 3 ways to a flop. The flop is 7-5 deuce, rainbow. The low jack checks, so the actions on me here, and now I think I have a pretty interesting decision whether I want to c-bet or not. The reasons I would like checking here is it is possible that the cutoff cold call with a hand like pocket 9s, pocket 10s, pocket jacks, pocket queens, and if they did, they're probably pretty likely to go ahead and bet those hands on this flop, which obviously we love and we have aces. But I think there's merit to c-betting as well. Not only will my opponent call if I have one of those hands, we also get to build a pot with one of the strongest hands we can have on this board. So ultimately I do decide to c-bet, but I think checking's fine as well. I go ahead and make it 18, then I get a call from the cutoff and the low jack folds. So it heads up to a turn, which is the 6 of hearts putting out backdoor hearts. The action's on me here again, and I think in this spot, if I did bet the flop, I should definitely continue betting on the turn here, still looking to build this pot, particularly now that the board's got more wet and any 8 is an open-ended straight draw. And also, if my opponent does have one of those overpairs in their range that I mentioned earlier, they're probably going to continue to call down on this turn. So I really do think I should be betting, and probably betting pretty big as well. Instead, I make a slight mistake. I decide to check here. My logic at the time was if my opponent does have one of those overpairs, I think they're pretty likely to keep betting on this turn to try and deny equity from if I do have an ace king or ace queen type hand, they sort of don't want to let me see a river for free. I think that logic's a bit flawed though. I don't necessarily know that they will bet off those hands. They could play it conservatively, being concerned that I do have a better overpair, particularly since they're more of a passive player. I can't really see them going ahead and doing that. I really do think betting is just the better play here. I make the mistake, I go ahead and check. Then the actions on my opponent, and they actually tank maximum in their time bank before checking. It's kind of hard to tell what that means in an online poker setting. It could just mean they were distracted by whatever's going on around them in real life. They could be playing multiple tables and they were just tanking on one of the other tables as well. Don't want to read too much into it as a result, but I am curious if it does have some influence on how the rest of the hand played out. So we're still heads up to the river, which is the 6 of diamonds, and the action's on me again, and in this spot, I really think I should be betting for value. I think the fact that my opponent did check on the turn, it looks like they have some showdown value, and I should just be betting out to try and get a bet from those hands in their range. And additionally, even if I do check it over, my opponent doesn't have a showdown value hand, I don't necessarily know that they're going to try and bluff at it. I think if they were trying to bluff at it, they might just take a stab on the turn when it looks like I have an ace high type hand. So I really do think I should be betting out here. I make another mistake. I'm distracted by all that's going on at the other tables, and I actually decide to check it here, which I think is actually a pretty significant mistake. I'm going to be missing a lot of value when my opponent does decide to check back a one pair hand here. So pretty disappointed for myself for checking there. Having said that though, When I do check it over, my opponent does something surprising. They go ahead and bet 150. Obviously a massive overbet of the river here, which I was not expecting at all. But then I look at the board and I'm like, okay, what is my opponent representing with this bet? And then I realize the 6 paired on the river, and after they did tank so long on the turn, they potentially could have been tanking with the 6, right? Like they hit a pair, they're not sure if they, want to bet to get me off an ace-king type hand. Like, I think that's a pretty credible story that they're telling with the overbet here. And my initial gut reaction is I should probably just fold, because it really does look like they have a 6. And you know what I keep saying about this player pool? They are very, very tight and don't like putting it in without a strong hand. But then I start to second guess myself and I'm a bit like, wait, Lee, what if you're wrong about this? What if my opponent does have a hand like pocket kings, pocket queens that check the turn? They're going to think that hand's nuts when I, check both the turn and the river, right? And they might just be trying to bomb it for value. So it's somewhat possible they could be doing it with one of those hands. Also, somewhat possible that they're just bluffing really big because they don't want me to hero call with an ace high. Like they just don't want to give me a good price to do so they're just bombing it. So I get all those thoughts in my head and I'm like, okay, if I'm wrong about this 6 thing, like I'm just throwing away money by not calling the overbet. So I do decide to throw in the call of the overbet, and then my opponent shows 9-6 offsuit. So obviously my initial gut reaction that they hit their 6 on the river and they're doing this for value was correct, and I sort of ignored that read for more conventional poker thinking, which I do think is probably still a mistake in this player pool of the 1-2 games that I do play. I think I should just be going with my reads more. Obviously, if I was playing higher stakes, this would be a very standard call, particularly when I do check aces twice, but sort of kicking myself a bit for paying off that value bet on the river there. Let me know what you guys think though. Obviously, it's a pretty close decision either way with the aces. Let me know what you would do on the river in the comments below. Hop in the comments, let me know what you would do. Would you call on the river with the aces, or do you think you can find the hero fold there? Always super curious to hear from you guys and what you think about this. Hop in the comments below, let me know. That's going to wrap up another vlog for today. Thank you so much for watching as always. I really do appreciate it. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button. It helps the channel grow so much. Also, if you do have time and you're keen on hearing my interview with Simon, the link to his channel is down in the description as well, so you can go subscribe to his channel and look at his old videos, and then you'll get mine when it comes out eventually. I'm out of here. Peace.